Is your career a business or a hobby? And I know there are government entities out there that make a very fine distinction between a business and a hobby. But I think for us, we should also, yes, a business, we should make the distinction ourselves, because if we're not conducting our career like a business, really like a business, then what are you doing? There are people who will say, well, if you're not making money at it, then it's not really a business. And I say, fie on that. Fee, fi, fo, fum on that. Because you know what? You can treat it like a business and act like it's a business well before you're actually getting an income from that business. And it can be viewed as a business by other people. I'm not giving you any kind of legal advice here. I am not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant, although my dad was a tax attorney. Because if you treat it like a business, then other people will treat you like a business person, and they will respect your time and they will pay you much faster than if you treat it like a hobby. And when you treat it like a business, that means that you keep business hours. Okay, now, yes, sometimes we need to make a living doing something else other than what our career is. Okay, so you have your hours that you spend making a living doing something else, but then you carve out time, specific time that you're going to clock in for your business. And I don't care whether that's in the morning before you head out to that other job or in the evening when you get home from that other job, but you clock in. You clock in for your business like clockwork every day because it's important to you. And you keep records. You keep records of the expenses that you incur for that business, and you keep records of the income that you get from that business when you start getting income from that business. You keep all meticulous records of everything that you do as if it were a business. Absolutely. Just like any other business, you keep meticulous records because it's your business. And you treat it as such. And if you treat it like a business, it will become your business. And if you treat it like a hobby, that's all it will ever be, is just a hobby. A lovely hobby, a wonderful hobby, a fun hobby, but a hobby. Now, some people, that's all they want. And they just want to write or act or direct or whatever from time to time as a hobby. But if you don't want this to be your hobby, if you want it to be your business, then you have to get it straight in your mind first. In your mind first. Because if you get it straight in your mind that this is your business, and then you treat it as your business, period. This is my business. I keep my records. I keep my time sheets. You know, I mean, really, you keep your time sheets. You know exactly how much time you're spending from day to day on your business. You know, if you're an actor, you keep your mileage when you go on auditions, when you go to work, when you go, if you're in a play, every rehearsal, every performance, whatever it is that you're doing, when you spend money, when you put gas in the car to go to wherever you need to go to, on your headshots, whatever you're spending to promote your business. As directors, as actors, as writers, we do research. All of those things that you do for research, and if you have to spend money for those things, those get noted in the expense column. They get noted. And you start tallying up what it's costing you to invest in your business, because this is your business. And understand that most small businesses in the United States don't show a profit for the first 5 years, at least. Notate all that shit, exactly. Record everything. You mark everything down. You keep records. You keep track of everything. You write it all down. And he was like, you can deduct this stuff. You can take all this, you know, if you keep track of everything, if you keep meticulous records, as if it is a business. But you can't just treat it like a hobby. You can't just from time to time. You can't just go, oh yeah, I'll do that later. You can't just, you have to do it. Whether you do it weekly, daily, monthly, however you are going to decide how you're going to keep your record keeping, you have to do it. Just like any other business. You have to close out your records at the end of every week, at the end of every 2 weeks, at the end of every month. Whatever you decide when you start your business, that's what you have to do. And then do it. And don't slough it off and go, well, you know, I'm tired this month. I think I didn't have that much to notate, so I'll just wait till next month. Because you know what? The minute you do that, it's easier to wait until the next month, and then procrastinate the next month. And before you know it, 6 months have gone by and you haven't put a single thing in the book. And now you have to go back and remember, well, when did I, and how much, and oh, it's so much work now because you're having to do 6 months worth of record keeping. And it's so hard, and it's so, oh, do I really have to do all this? It's like, I hate it. I don't want to do it. If you do it regularly, every week, every other week, every month, if you do it, it's like regular. It's not so much work. It's just not. And then you're like, oh, this is not so bad. You just set aside a time. This is when I'm going to do my record keeping. This is when I'm going to put it all in my book. I'm going to put it all in my ledger, put it all in my bento, put it all in my mint, whatever, you know, you can do it online. You upgrade your final draft. You pay for that. Write it down. Whatever it is. I'm thinking of buying a couple of books, directors that were recommended, of different directors who talk about directing. Write it down. Write it down. Those things are all expenses for your business. Treat it like a business, it'll be a business. Treat it like a hobby, it'll be a hobby. So, and there's so many apps now. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, you can do it on your computer. They can sync together. It's so easy today to keep track of everything that there's no reason. I mean, I started when it was like, get the green with the little, you know, squares paper. I don't even know what you call it anymore because I'm not an accountant. The ledger, that's it, ledger paper. I started with ledger paper, and you had to enter everything by hand. I'm going through receipts at the end of every month, putting them in little envelopes and entering everything by hand and using a calculator to add stuff up. It's like, oh my God, it was so much harder than it is now. It's so much easier now. There's just no excuse. There's just no excuse. You pick, there's like probably a dozen different apps that you could look at all of them and say, I like this one. Try a couple of different ones. See which one you like. Do something. You know, you got to do something. You can't just let it float away from you. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be with boxes of receipts and, no. In March or April, trying to go through all this stuff and add it up and divide it up and say this is this and this is that and reconcile it with statements and ugh. No. If you do it regularly, monthly, it's not a big deal. It's just like, yeah, okay, here, boom, done. Hand it over. Take care of it. It makes your life less stressful. Yeah, and if you maintain it weekly or monthly, then you're good. You're awesome. You're like, hey, I'm done. Here it is. Boom. Or I'm good. I can do this. I can just fill out a few things and I'm done. And again, I'm not giving you advice for governmental purposes. Please don't think that I know what I'm the expert here. I'm not the expert. I'm not telling you what you can and cannot write off, take off, use, or anything. Don't take my advice. I'm not an expert. But what I am saying is, for your mindset, for how you treat your career, and how other people are then going to see you and treat you, it's invaluable. It creates around you an aura of someone who is professional, who knows what they're doing, whose business is a business, whose career is a business, who deserves to be treated professionally and is at a higher tier in this business than someone who treats it haphazardly or as a hobby. And that is going to be more valuable to you than, or as valuable to you than what happens between you and, any governmental agency. So it's going to stand you in really good stead for what happens to you in the future of your career.